All right. So hopefully everybody can hear me. Just thumbs up if you can hear me live and clear. And as Lily has just said, greetings from Turin. I am the Director of Studies here at International House Turin. And today I'm talking about making YL activities less COVIDy. I thought I'd make it quite topical today for you guys. Okay, so let's begin because I've only got half an hour, and believe you me, half an hour goes very quickly with these sort of things. So COVIDy, yes, it is a new English word. Well, at least it's slang, let's say. And what does it actually mean? Well, I checked out the brilliant Urban Dictionary, and there can be many different meanings of the word COVIDy. First, it can be a person who seems to be suffering from the symptoms of COVID-19. So that sweaty guy was giving off a distinctly COVIDy vibe. It can also be an adjective to describe someone who's very worried about contacting COVID-19. Oh, wow, she's really COVIDy. Yeah, maybe she's a bit over the top, to be honest. I think, we've got every reason to be worried about COVID. It can also be an adjective or an adverb applied to any or all items of behavior related to the germy world of COVID-19. So keep that COVIDy grocery bag out of my kitchen. Yes. And finally, it can just be an adjective, which means possessing traits of a scenario containing COVID-19 virus. This bar is really COVIDy. And I think, this is probably the best definition for my use of COVIDy, trying to make YL activities less COVIDy, okay? So I did a session quite some time ago for the IH online conference, and it was called Tricks Up Your Sleeve, Consolidation Activities for YLs. And whenever I have new teachers join me here at International House Turin, I do go through lots of these fun activities, and these are designed for face-to-face. But this September, when I was doing this session for my new teachers here at International House, it suddenly dawned on me. I was like, oh, crikey, these activities, which we, been using for years, and we love them and they're fantastic, well, they are rather COVIDy for a face-to-face scenario. Now, I don't know how many of you are still teaching face-to-face. Certainly here at International House Turin, we are now back online. But I'm going to be talking about, how to make face-to-face lessons less COVIDy, but also showing you something which you can also use online as well. Okay, so best of both worlds, should we say? And let's hope, we won't need to be worrying about COVID in a year's time. But who knows? Let's touch wood. Who knows? We have no idea what the future holds. Okay, so all these activities, for example, the classic fly swat game, which I'm sure you know. This is the cuddly toy throwing game where you basically have flashcards around the room. You have two teams, and you number the students 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, depending on how many students you have. And you say, okay, it's a bunny rabbit, number 3s, and number 3s grab their cuddly toy and they throw it at the picture. Well, yes, of course, it's very COVIDy, isn't it? Because kids are touching the same cuddly toy, they're touching the same flashcards, and they're sitting very close to each other. So it is unfortunately not that great for this situation we're dealing with right now. Fly swats, of course, they're grabbing the same fly swats, so again, not great. And also very simple one, the circle game. All these games have simple names: fly swat, cuddly toy, circle game, yeah. And so you've got the flashcards in a circle on the floor, upside down. They're running around to some music. The music stops. They grab their flashcard. There you go. They're grabbing it again, and they turn it over and they tell each other what they have. For example, you are a bunny rabbit, or it's a bunny rabbit, or it's a donkey, and so forth. Yeah. But again, because they are touching the same flashcards multiple times, it is not very friendly. And of course, there are hundreds of other games which we know and which we love. And I'm sure, you've got loads of ideas, tricks up your sleeve, literally. But unfortunately, in a face-to-face classroom right now, they are not that COVIDy. They're not that COVID friendly, should we say. Okay, so let's move on. What we want to do, guys, is beat the COVID. I think that's what the entire world, that's what all our politicians and governments are trying to do at the moment, is beat the COVID. And of course, we've got to try and at least eliminate and reduce it in a face-to-face scenario to make it as safe and comfortable as possible for not just our students, but of course, yourselves as well. Sometimes people forget, I mean, here in Poland, state schools, primary levels 1 to 3 are now back face-to-face. That means sort of kids between the ages of 7 and 10 can go back to school. But you've got to think about the teachers as well. They're the ones who can really get COVID, and especially the older generation, they can really suffer from it badly. So we've got to be very careful. So first of all, let's start with the basics. And hopefully, if you are teaching face-to-face, your school director has already implemented these rules. So first of all, of course, clean, guys. That's very important. Hand sanitizer all around the school, cleaning before you touch fly spots and so forth. Yeah. Of course, face masks. I don't know what it was like. We actually went back briefly for a month to face-to-face. Well, I taught blended learning lessons where we met the students once a week face-to-face, and the teacher, we had to wear face masks or face shields, but the students didn't have to if they were sitting at their desks. But the moment they did do any activity, they did have to wear face masks, and they had to wear face masks entering the building, in the corridor, in all public spaces, basically. Tip number 3, blended learning is what I just said. So this is exactly what we did. We meet our students twice a week. One lesson was online, one lesson was face-to-face. And the reason doing that was to try to reduce the number of students, the number of people in the building at any one time. We in Poland call this hybrid lessons, but hybrid lessons can also mean another thing. And this is something that I know IH Manchester is very big on, and a few other IH schools as well, where you actually, I mean, these are schools where they've got students sometimes coming from other countries, that these are students, study abroad schools, where students from like Korea or China will come to England to learn. And maybe a lot of them have already paid for their course and they're still stuck in China, for example, or in Korea. So they have hybrid lessons. And that means, depending on the time difference, some students will be in the classroom, as you can see here, and some students will be beamed live via Zoom. Okay, I've never done it myself. It sounds really complicated, but if anybody has tried it, it'd be great. Maybe at the end, we've got a quick Q&A session. Please tell us. I'd love to hear from you if you have actually experienced this sort of teaching. Tip number 5, no parents. That might sound quite harsh, but quite often here at IH Tour, we had parents coming in to the corridors, hanging outside, waiting. And obviously you try to reduce as many people in the building at any one time. Okay, so I don't know if your schools, if you are teaching face-to-face, whether you have eliminated the parents. Easier said than done. And tip number 6, tip number 6, of course, socially distanced classrooms. Try to keep 2 meters apart. It was very difficult to do this. I've heard some people talking about sticking little squares on the carpet with tape, and that would be the little box where the students would stay in. Because of course, trying to tell a 7 or 8-year-old to keep distance for 2 meters is near nigh impossible. So if you try to create a little box on the ground, but we never did that, and I don't know if any schools have tried, but again, if you have, great to hear from you, please tell me. Tip number 7, let in the fresh air, let in the breeze. Basically, try to keep those rooms as airy as possible. But of course, when it's -3, or in Russia, probably about -10 or even -20 or even more, that's not a good idea. Chances are everybody's going to get a cold if that's the case. But you've got to try and air, especially in between lessons, air your rooms. Yeah. Well, I sound like a medical doctor. They should hire me. And tip number 8, obviously the students should look after their own stationery. Gone are the days where students lend and borrow their, pencils and pens. But, this would need a lot of help and support from parents, because how many times do kids turn up to lessons without their own pen, book, paper? Oh yes, I'm sure you can relate to that. And the final tip, and this is what we're really going to be talking about today, is change your approach, shock horror, to teaching. Yes, and we're going to look at a couple of ways of how we can adapt our lessons and our activities to make them more, you know, COVID friendly, should we say? Okay, less COVIDy. Okay, now, first of all, this is the best alternative. Okay, the best solution for everything is a mini whiteboard alternative. Okay, now, how many of you, hands up, have come across this amazing website? It's called whiteboard.fi. Okay, and this is great for online lessons. I did mention we're going to do a little bit of online lesson stuff. It's great for online lessons as an alternative to the whiteboard. I'm not a fan of the Zoom whiteboard myself, but also if you're in a face-to-face lesson, you know how students used to have these mini whiteboards and you quiz them on their homework and they'll write their answers and pass it to the next student, they write their answers. So, well, this is a great alternative. You could still do in a face-to-face lesson without actually having a physical whiteboard. All they need is their mobile phone. And let's be honest, how many kids love to use their mobile phone? So we're going to try this right now, guys. Just bear with me because I need to set up the class. It was all ready and I accidentally pressed a button, and of course it's now deactivated it. Always the way. Don't rely on technology. Yeah, easier said than done when we're all online. Okay, here we go. I'm just creating the room. So if everybody looks at the chat box right now, I'm just going to post a link, and I would like everybody to click on this link, B7Y2F. Okay, let's hope this works. And all I want you to do is just to, when you enter, just write your name. First name is fine, just write your name and come on in. And yeah, here we go. I can see Sophia. Hello, Sophia, you're the first person. Anna P, Ollie, Ekaterina, Lyra, Anna P, Julie. Look, they're all coming in. I don't know if you can see, oh, it doesn't, because of the virtual background, it's not. Oh, you can just make it out. I've got all these little virtual whiteboards coming in and I can see, okay? So please, you know, you can actually practice, you can use your finger and write something, but don't write anything bad or rude because, hey, I can see it. So let's have a quiz. Why not? Let's have some fun in my session. Woo! So all I'm going to do is going to ask you 5 questions, and all you have to do, okay, thank you. Some people saying hello, hi, brilliant. Oh, somebody's giving me a love heart. Thank you very much. I'm now going to clear your boards. I can do that automatically here. Okay, so don't worry if it just goes blank. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 5 questions. All you have to do is use your finger. There is also a text function as well if you do want to type something, but on the mobile phone, it's just easier to use your finger to write. I want you to write the answers to these 5 questions, okay? And you score your points because so many people here today, you score your points as you go along. Okay, so question number 1, are you ready? In which country was Chi Wei-sun, I think she was the first or second presenter today, presenting from? Okay, you've got 10 seconds, guys. Go, write your answer. Which country was Chi Wei-sun presenting from today? Don't write it in the chat box, please. Write it on your mini whiteboards. I can see some people writing in the chat box. The purpose is I want to show you how to use this. Okay, well done. Anastasia's got the correct answer. Chris, hello, Chris. I do believe that's Christopher Walker. Good to see you. It is not San Marino. Not San Marino, but good guess. I'll give you a clue. It begins with the letter C, just like Chi Wei. Chi Wei-sun. Okay, guys, a lot of you getting the correct answer. Fortunately, Lyra, it's not Russia. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. The answer was Canada. So well done, guys. Give yourselves a pat on the back if you got that one correct and score yourself 1 point. Okay, question number 2. So let me just clear those boards. So, okay, here we go. Number 2. Which school, and I do apologize, Elena, if I mispronounce, Chigrinova work at? Which school does Elena Chigrinova work at? It's a great school. I visited it about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was going to go again last year, but of course COVID intervened, but I'm sure I will return in due course. Oh yes, well done Anastasia, you are correct. Anna P is correct as well. Katerina, you got 1/2 correct, but I think you're right. I'm going to give you a point. Elena has just written International House, be more specific. Ksenia is correct. Oh, so many people correct. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The correct answer was IH Voronezh Linguist. Well done, and give yourself another point if you got that one correct. Number 3. Okay, clear your boards. Question number 3. What's the name of the last speaker today? And I gave you a clue earlier. I mentioned his name just now. What's the name of the last speaker today? Oh, everybody's gone blank. Everybody's quiet. No one knows. It's not Glenn, but thank you very much, Julia. I would love to return. When I mean last speaker, I mean, you know, the final speaker for today's conference. Oh, well, one person's got it correct. And it is the answer. Yes, thank you, Chris IHBS. It is Christopher Walker. Okay, Christopher Walker. He took over from another presenter who sadly is ill at the moment, and he is stepping in and he's presenting the last session together with his daughter Matilda. So I do highly recommend this session. It's going to be great. Okay, quickly, question number 4. In which country was I born in? In which country was I born in? I'll give you a clue. It's not Russia, it's not Poland, and it's certainly not England, even though I do have a British accent. Okay. 5, 4, 3. Not Canada, Nina. Good guess. It is a long way, though. Anybody got this? Oh, no one's read my bio. Yes, Elena Gladushko. Well done. You put NZ. The answer was New Zealand. Congratulations. Give yourself a point. And the last question today. Did anybody get 5 out of 5? Let's find out. Number 5 is alive. What's the 4th word of the title of Ian Raby's talk today? Ian's going to be joining us in a bit, I believe, or unless he's already been. What's the 4th word of the title of his talk? Okay. Anybody? I haven't cleared your board, so just write your answer. This is when you need to look at the program, guys. Olga, congratulations. There's 2 Olgas, but it's the first Olga I've seen. Well done. You have got the answer correct. So has Yana. Well done, Yana. Yana's also got a smiley face or a shocked face. Okay. Anybody else? Well done, Christopher Walker as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer was adventure. Yes, well done. So let's see how many you got. If you got 5 out of 5, please put your thumbs up now and give yourself a big pat on the back. Congratulations, well done. 4 out of 5, brilliant as well. Anything less than 3, do your homework. Anyway, guys, congratulations. So let's move on because I've only got T-minus 11 minutes left. Let's think back to those specific activities that I showed you earlier. Remember, the fly swat, the cuddly toy throwing, and the circle game. So, first of all, Pelmanism's a classic game as well, of course, where you've got all the flashcards turned around, you've got the pictures of the flashcards, you've got the written form on other flashcards. Students turn over the picture form first. It's a bunny rabbit, and they have to find the written form and match. That's one way of the Pelmanism. But of course, again, very, very COVIDy, guys. So here's an alternative. You number those flashcards upside down, okay? The teacher takes it in turn to ask each student to give a number of the flashcard, and the teacher turns them over, okay? Another alternative is on wordboard.net. I'm sure a lot of you know this. It's a great app for online lessons. Of course, you can also use it in a face-to-face class when you're trying to reduce COVID. Very, very nice. And there is a Pelmanism activity plus many other activities on wordwall.net. So I highly recommend that app. So yeah, not as interactive. And I'm not saying, you know, these are not making those activities better by any way, but it's just an alternative to try to make them less COVIDy. Okay, a remedy, should we say? Okay, flashcards. So instead of passing the flashcards from one student to another, the teacher places the flashcard in front of each student's desk. Okay, so a bunny rabbit in front of Ola, a donkey in front of Mache, a cat in front of Timon, for example. And they then call out the flashcard, and if that student's word is called, that student stands up. Okay, so again, not as interactive, but it's another nice little alternative. Of course, you guys may come up with some other alternatives in a minute, and I'm going to give you some time to do that. And then, of course, the teacher mixes the flashcards and then repeats again. And don't worry about taking pictures of my slides, guys. I will be sharing the slides with Lilia later, so she can pass it on to you guys. So don't worry about that. Fly swaps. So another alternative, you still have 2 teams, but each team per class has a nominated team leader, and that changes every lesson. And that team leader is the one who swats the words, and their fellow teammates are helping by calling out. But you've got to make that fair. You've got to make it sure that they are alternating each lesson. And you can't, if for example, Mache went on Monday, then on Wednesday, it's got to be a different child. Okay, you know what children are like. Not fair, teacher, not fair. Okay, the cuddly toy throwing game. This now becomes known as the pointy game. The teacher still sticks the flashcards around the room. Normally it's the students who stick them on. You'd say, hey, put it on window number 1, put it on the door, you tell them where to put. But this time it's the teacher, maybe at the beginning of the lesson, before the lesson begins, sticks them around the room, okay? And there are still 2 teams, and students within each team take it in turns to be the pointer. And the teacher says a word, and the student from each team who points quickly at the corresponding flashcard, and the winner, of course, is the one who points first to the correct, and they get a point. So again, it is not as fun as throwing a cuddly toy, but it is a good alternative, and you are still doing the same thing. You're consolidating the language of the vocabulary. Okay, so we've still got 7 minutes left, and so for a few minutes, we are going to have a Q&A in a minute, but for a few minutes, I want you now, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I want you to think of some other solutions that you can think of together to make these activities, or indeed any other activities that you know and love, less COVIDy. Have a little bit of a brainstorming session, and we'll get some feedback in a minute. So over to you. I'm going to put you guys into breakout rooms. You've already got breakout rooms ready. Just a second. Okay, here we go.
Language, which is good for us.
I do something similar with that. I have slightly higher level students, like A2 level young learners, and they got bored of that show and tell thing very quickly. So to add a layer of challenge, I would ask one person
Are you talking or just waiting for something, or you discussed everything?
The thing is that I'm here alone.
No, you're not. There are a lot of people here.
But they are off. So look, oh no, so they are not.
They're
online.
not talking, yeah, but we can ask them to switch their mics on and talk.
Natalia Stepanovna, are you here?
She is, but why aren't people talking? So I attended one group and they were discussing.
No, I just said something like, "Hello, guys, are you here?" And it happened.
Nobody answered. Okay, I see. Oh, maybe they're somewhere and they don't know how wonderful Glenn is.
Okay.
And typical students sitting there in silence, not talking. And this is one of the problems with breakout rooms. Hi, Chris, good to see you. Chris, anything you guys discussed, any alternatives for making these activities less COVIDy?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the thing that impressed me most about the people in my breakout room was the positivity. I mean, we're so kind of geared up for online teaching if necessary and geared up for making everything safe. So that was really good. But yeah, we talked about show and tell and how you can get students to go and get something. You say, get something blue, get something green, which is great for the lower levels. But as you move up the levels, what you can do is a similarity show and tell. So the first student finds something and shows it to the rest of the class. The other students have to find something that is some way similar. So if it's a book, it can be another book. But if it's a book with a blue cover, it could be something blue. So that they go and then they need to use the language of justification to say why they chose it.
Very nice, but of course you don't want students touching the same objects, so you may have.
Well, this is online. This is online.
Online, so, yes.
Yeah.
So okay, online alternative apps. Yeah, of course. So they're doing it at home. Yes. Brilliant. Yeah. I'm trying to think of ways to make face-to-face lessons a bit less COVIDy. But any other ideas from anybody else? Thumbs up. We're running out of ideas. I mean, running out of time, I should say. I'm sure you've all got great ideas. So, Chris, just want to point you out, where are you? I recognize that background.
You might. This is a suburb of Katowice in Poland called Nikiszowiec. I think I'm saying it right. Yeah. Nikiszowiec, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we actually met up last weekend together.
We did.
I was actually there when you took that photograph. And, happy memories.
Indeed.
It was a great time. Okay, guys. Well, that's coming basically the end of my session. But as I promised, let's move on. And that's my email address, standish.toran@inthouse.pl. Lilia will be sending you guys my PowerPoint at some point. I need to send it to her. So please do write that email address down if you have any further questions you want to ask me, or you just want to say hello. Standish.toran@inthouse.pl. Okay, so just make a note of that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I've got time. I think Lydia's got time for one more minute. If anybody's got any questions, or am I out of time? I believe I am out of time.
If anyone wants to ask you questions, you're welcome, please. I guess we've got a couple of minutes to discuss what you've said. It was really awesome, Glenn. And it was fun as usual.
I tried to make it fun. I do love this whiteboard app because let's face it, kids, teenagers, they love to use their phones. And how many of them are actually using their phones anyway during an online lesson and you don't actually know about it? Yeah. This is one of the problems during tests. We fear a lot of students are actually texting each other the answers. That's a problem that's very difficult to avoid. But let's try and think about the positivities of mobile phones. A lot of teachers, a lot of school directors say they're very negative and ban them in lessons. Well, no, I think there are positives of mobile phones. And this is one way you can actually use their mobile phones positively, definitely. Okay, any questions? If anybody's got a question, please put your hand up. I think some people are writing the chat box. I can't see the chat box, Lydia. So Lydia, if you can choose any questions, if anybody's writing anything.
Okay, yeah, I'll open it and say people liked using the board. People are saying thank you. High energy, interactive, just what we need on a Saturday. That's from Chris. Awesome, compliments.
Saturday or Sunday? It's a Sunday today.
Sunday, yeah, Sunday. Okay, so just thank you, words, and a lot of gratitude to you.
Okay. All right, well, it's been a pleasure. And thank you very much for the invitation. And I wish you every success for the rest of the conference today, Lydia.
Oh, thank you. You can stay with us or just join if you have some time.
I will do. And
okay.
Good luck, Christopher, as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Glenn.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Goodbye.